Ever feel like you just want to dip your toes in the water, but you're staring down at this, like, vast ocean? That's how I feel about evolution sometimes.
Yeah.
Huge EE. But luckily, that's what deep dives are for.
Exactly.
Today, we're diving into, well, evolution. We're using this Wikipedia article on evolution
Okay.
to, break it all down. And I've got an expert here to help us navigate all the twists and turns. So, ready to unpack the mysteries of life on Earth,
Let's do it.
from those early single-celled organisms to, well, all the incredible diversity we see today.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. All right, so we've got this Wikipedia article about evolution. But what does it actually mean? What is evolution?
Well, it's how life changes over time. But
Yeah.
it's not like, you get older. It's about how, like, entire groups of creatures change
Right.
over generations. Like, think about a recipe, right?
Okay.
Your family's had it forever. Each generation, they change it a little,
Right.
add a little something here, take out something there. And after, like, years and years, it's still the same recipe at heart,
Yeah.
but it's also totally different.
I like that, yeah. So what's making those changes? To the recipe or to, a species and their traits in this case?
So the article mentions a few things. One of the big ones is natural selection. Survival of the fittest, they sometimes call it.
Right, right. But it's
Well-
not just about being the strongest, right? I mean,
No, it's not that simple. It's about having traits that help you survive
Yeah,
long enough to reproduce so you can pass those traits down.
okay.
It's like, camouflage.
Yeah.
Helps an animal blend in.
Right.
Less likely to get eaten, which means it's more likely to have babies.
Yeah.
And those babies inherit those camouflage genes.
So over time, the whole species is better at hiding.
Exactly.
So the environment then plays a huge role in this whole process.
Huge role. It's like the editor,
Yeah.
deciding what works and what doesn't.
Mm.
The article mentions Darwin's finches.
Oh, yeah, yeah. On
Yeah.
the Galapagos Islands.
Yeah, exactly. He noticed that finches on different islands,
Right.
they had different beaks.
Right, for the different foods.
Exactly. Like on one island, big, strong beaks for cracking seeds, but on another island, long, thin ones for sipping nectar from flowers.
Wow.
Same ancestor, but the environment pushed them in different directions.
It's amazing how nature does that, like shapes them over time.
It is.
The article, it also mentions mutations, though, right,
Yeah.
as a factor.
Yeah, mutations are key. It's like a typo
A typo.
in the genetic code. Creates random changes. Sometimes those changes are bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't do anything.
Right.
But sometimes they can be helpful.
I see.
Depends on the situation, really.
Okay, so, like, let's say there's a mutation, and now a giraffe has a slightly longer neck, right?
Right.
And, I don't know, maybe food is becoming harder to reach, higher up in the trees.
Right.
That longer neck could be the difference between life or death.
Exactly. That giraffe with the longer neck is more likely to survive, reproduce, pass on that trait.
Right.
While the giraffes with the shorter necks, they might not be so lucky.
So it's like these typos
Yeah,
can actually be a good thing?
sometimes, yeah.
But what about the ones that aren't good or bad?
The neutral ones,
Oh.
that's where it gets really interesting. There's something called genetic drift, which is basically just random chance.
Really?
Imagine you've got a small group of beetles,
All right.
right? And just by chance,
Yeah.
a few of them with a specific gene, they have more offspring.
Okay.
And that gene, it doesn't even really do anything special. It's just there. But because those beetles had more babies, that gene becomes more common in the population.
Oh, wow. Just by pure luck.
Just luck.
Hmm.
And then on top of that, you've got gene flow, which is like
Okay.
when individuals move between populations, they
Gross.
bring their genes with them, obviously. Could be good genes, could be bad genes. Who knows?
So it's like adding like a new ingredient to that family recipe we were talking about.
Exactly. Might spice things up,
Right.
might completely ruin it.
That's a good way to put it.
But it keeps things interesting, that's for sure.
So we've got mutation, natural selection, genetic drift, gene flow,
It's a lot.
all these forces
Yeah.
kind of working together to shape, well,
Life.
life. Okay, so we've been talking about, how life changes within a species.
Right.
But the article also talks about how new species, like completely new species,
Yeah.
how do they even happen?
It's a whole other level, isn't it?
It is.
You go from these tiny little changes in the genes to
Well-
like the whole story of life branching out.
All
It's
right.
called speciation.
Appreciation.
When a new species actually like pops up on the scene, and the article, it says that one of the big things is isolation.
Isolation. You mean like when when groups of animals get separated from each other.
Exactly. Like, picture a river, right?
Uh-huh. It changes its course, splits a population of, say, mice right in two,
Oh, wow.
or a volcano erupts,
Mm,
creates a new chain of islands. Suddenly, some birds are separated from the rest.
right, right. Okay.
Over time, those separated groups, they experience different environments,
Right.
different pressures,
Mm.
and they start to change
Yeah.
genetically.
So they're, like, on their own paths now.
Separate branches growing further and further apart.
Right.
And eventually, they've changed so much
Yeah.
that even if they did meet up again, they couldn't interbreed anymore.
Wow.
New species.
It's wild. So it's not just about change over time. It's also about being, like, separated over time.
Exactly. And the article, it brings up Darwin's finches again.
Right. Those birds.
Perfect example.
Hmm.
Isolated on different islands,
Mhm.
different food.
They evolved those unique beaks.
Amazing. It really shows you how powerful evolution is,
Yeah.
like how much diversity comes from it. But the article also mentions extinction, which
Yeah.
kind of blows my mind. Did you know that like 99% of all species that have ever lived are gone now?
It's a sobering thought, isn't it? But it's important to remember, extinction is a part of life, too. It's not a failure,
Right.
just the natural course of things. Species, they emerge, they adapt, and sometimes, yeah, they disappear. Leave space for new forms of life to take their place.
It's like a cycle then.
Exactly. A constant cycle of change and renewal.
It makes you wonder, what will the world look like, in millions of years? What new things will pop up?
Right. It's humbling, isn't it?
It is. Well, I think we've covered a lot today.
Yeah. It's
From the tiniest mutation to, like, entire new species appearing.
whole shebang.
Hopefully everyone listening feels ready to, maybe tackle that Wikipedia article themselves now.
And if nothing else, maybe look at life on Earth with fresh eyes, eh?
Totally. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
Anytime.
And to everyone listening, until next time, keep exploring.